Hello, welcome back to another episode of Money and Marriage Made Simple. This is the podcast where I talk about all things money, all things marriage from a financial coach standpoint, but also from the standpoint of somebody who's been through it. I've been through the hard times with my money and in my marriage, and I have come out the other side a completely different person, and I want to share that with you guys. Today, I am recording this in the middle of a transition, in the middle of a lot of change and some big things happening for our family. So I wanted to talk through what we have been going through and how we have been navigating this big change in our life, because even though we have gotten out of debt and we've got our emergency fund, that doesn't mean that things are always easy. There is still stress that comes along and still things that put strain on our marriage. So I want to talk about how we're navigating this so that hopefully you guys can realize that I'm still going through it. We're still learning. We're not perfect. So Zach is my husband. He got offered a sales position at work. He's always been a crane operator. He's always been in the field. And so moving to this sales position is a really big change for him. So there was a lot for us to think about and talk through. So on paper, it does feel like an obvious yes. The big thing being that he would have more time with our family. He won't be missing events, things like that. So on paper, yeah, it looks like a big yes, but there were a lot of things to talk through. So let's jump in. I want to talk about exactly how we've been navigating all of this, not because we have it all figured out, but because we're still in the thick of it and we're in this transition. So I want to share that with you. So this new job offer, we knew it was coming at the end of at the end of December. He got the official offer in January, like the first week, maybe 2 weeks into January. So we got all of the details of what he's going to get paid, what the, benefits package looks like, and all the different things. The obvious wins here was we knew that he would have a much more flexible schedule. We knew that he could potentially work from home if he needs to. He could actually come to the kids' different events that they have. My daughter one of them is in dance, one of them is in gymnastics, and they always have school events. And Zach often was missing out on these things. And it was really hard for him to miss out, but also for me to be the one who is just primarily taking care of everything. And it was a lot. So there were definitely obvious wins there. But there were some things that we had to talk through that were different and difficult. We had to talk through the fact that he was going to be leaving the union, the operator and operating engineers union that he was a part of for the 12 years that he was operating cranes was really good to us. They have an amazing pension. They have an amazing benefits package that was free for us. So this was something that we really needed to think about because this was going to be a big change leaving the union, but also the fact that he was going from the field. He's always been a hard worker, always been hands-on, to now going into an office job. And that's very different for somebody who is super active and hands-on with things. It was going to be a big change for him to move into an office position. So when we were discussing this, I'll talk about the numbers and stuff here in a minute, but when we were discussing this, just talking about the job itself and what that would look like, those changes there, my approach was I really wanted to hear his side of it. I didn't want him to feel swayed one way or the other by my opinion. And of course I had an opinion, but I wanted him to really think this through because I wanted to make sure that he was going to be happy with this new job. So I definitely stayed quiet because I wanted to hear his thoughts on it before I voiced my opinion and told him what I thought of it. And that was really great because we did actually agree on everything. So I felt really good about the fact that we were on the same page even before we really discussed it. So that really felt good. What really tipped the scale, aside from the money and everything else, What really tipped the scale was the fact that he would be home more with our family. That is just huge for us. It's been, like I said, he's been doing this job for about 12 years. So it's been the entire time that we've been married, the entire time that we've been parents, I've been the primary parent because he works so much and his job was so unpredictable. We didn't know how long he was going to be working, what time he'd have to be to work in the morning. We didn't know if he was even going to be in town. Sometimes they would call us one day and be like, "Hey, you're going out of town for a week tomorrow." And we just had to be okay with that. And that was really, really hard on our family, on our relationship, on both of us individually. It was really tough. So that's really what tipped the scale, was knowing that he would have more time with our family. Absolutely worth it. So then we started talking through the numbers. We had to calculate the salary changes because there would be some changes. He would have a base salary plus some commission. So we had to look at what that is. The base salary obviously is guaranteed. The commissions are not. It's based on what he sells. He knew, okay, here's the base salary. Chances are I'm going to get commissions pretty quickly, so there wouldn't be too much lag time there. Aside from the salary, though, the issue came in that now we're going to have to pay something for healthcare. So we had to consider that. We had to consider that he was no longer going to be getting this pension. This pension with the union, they contributed 7% without us having to contribute anything. So not like a 401k match where you contribute some and they match that up to a certain point. It was 7% no matter what. So that's huge. That's a huge amount, right? That we don't have to even contribute at all. So we had to figure out what that looks like, how much he's going to have to contribute to the 401k to get the match, how much we needed to contribute to an IRA aside from that, and what that looks like coming out of his paycheck. And then, now this was a big one that we had to consider. He would no longer have a company truck. For a while now, he's been able to drive a company truck. He got rid of his old vehicle that he used to take to work, and now he has to have a vehicle. He has to drive to job sites. He has to drive to the office in Denver. So that's like an hour or more drive every day. So the company does give you a truck allowance. The issue was that we don't have the cash to just go out and buy a truck. So what does that look like? Yes, the company is giving us a monthly truck allowance. Yes, technically, if we got a loan, the company would be paying that payment. It's still debt. So we had to decide, do we think that it is worth going into debt again? We've been debt-free for over 3 years now. Is it worth going back into debt if the company is paying for this? And what other options do we have? So these were all things that we really had to talk through and really had to consider. Another thing that came up as we were talking through this was that he has to be on a probationary period for 2 months before he actually starts getting commissions checks. So he would just be down to that base salary. That's about a $2,000 pay cut per month for our family. So we had to discuss and more than anything, just plan what that looks like for the first 2 months when he transitions to this new job, because he's not going to be getting that commission check. So having that lower income was going to be something definitely that we had to make a plan for. So because I am so debt averse, I teach you to get debt free, right? That is a big part of what I teach. I want to talk about the debt dilemma that we went through. By the way, my husband has started the job. He's been doing it for 2 weeks now. We did make the decision to get a truck loan. This was a really hard decision. I think for me more than my husband, honestly. I think I've become more debt averse than him. It was such a struggle because the way I see it is, yes, the company is paying that truck payment every month, but we are taking on the risk of the debt. The loan goes in my husband's name and he is liable for that debt. If for some reason those allowance checks stop, whether it's for whatever reason he gets fired or if he can't work for some reason, those payments stop. What does that look like? That means that we still have to figure out what to do with this loan. We still have to either keep paying it on our own, we have to sell the truck or something like that and figure out what to do. I see debt as risk, and we are taking on that risk, regardless of the fact that the company is sending us money for that payment each month. Not only that, but I don't think I will ever be at peace with having a vehicle loan. It feels like we've taken a huge step back. We made so much progress in the last 5 years, paying off all of our debt, getting this emergency fund, really making progress on our goals and our retirement, and having this loan feels really hard for me. It feels like we've taken a huge step back because we felt like we were stuck, that we were obligated to get this truck. We did our best to get a quality truck that he could drive around. He's going to be driving probably about 40,000 miles a year with this job. So he needs a truck that is going to be reliable, is going to last a while. But also we didn't want to spend an outrageous amount of money. We didn't want to spend $60,000 on a truck. We had a little bit of money for a down payment, so we put that on it. We found a truck for a decent price. We ended up getting a $30,000 loan to help me, both of us, but mostly me, come to peace with having this loan. We made a plan to pay it off early. Essentially, we made sure that this payment is about half of what the truck allowance is. So then we will take that entire truck allowance, so essentially double the truck payment every month, and pay it towards that loan. That's really going to help us get it paid off so much faster. And then hopefully we will be able to get either a smaller loan or potentially pay cash for the next vehicle, depending on how long this one lasts and when we need to replace it. Hopefully we can get a smaller loan and eventually just pay cash so that we don't have that payment anymore. We'll still get that truck allowance and we'll put that in the bank. That's our plan. That's how we compromised for this. The thing that I have noticed about this is when we discussed the truck allowance and trying to make a plan for this, we did have some arguments. We rarely, almost never, have arguments about money anymore. So arguing about this really showed me the strain and the stress that debt put on our relationship and on me. So that just reminded me again why I want to live a debt-free life. Now, like I said, Zach started the new job 2 weeks ago. His benefits, his health package with the union will continue for, I think, another 2 months. So right now, we're talking through all of those decisions, and it's just stressful. Not that they're hard decisions to make. It's just a lot of change, a lot of transition. So right now, we're discussing the health benefits, and there's like multiple packages to choose from, and we're trying to figure out what package is best and what we should do, how much is going to be coming out of each paycheck because of that. We're discussing the retirement investment options. His company matches up to 4%, so he has to contribute 5% and they will match 4%. So again, running the numbers, what does that look like? What is actually going to be taken out of the paycheck each week? And figuring out exactly what the take-home pay is going to look like so that we can make a plan and budget and make sure that this is right for our family. Right now, I think the biggest stress on me, and I'm sure Zach too, based on our conversations, the biggest stress is just the unknown. We've gotten our budget really dialed in. We've been doing really well, putting a ton of money in savings and retirement contributions, all of those things that are our financial goals. We've been doing really well with it. So not really knowing what the commission checks are going to look like, kind of the changes of what this new job means for us, it is stressful. I don't do well with the unknown. Like I talk about the budget putting us in control of our money. I want to be in control. I'm a control freak. I'll be honest. It's something that I work on, honestly, all the time. So that unknown is really stressful, that change. Even though it's positive change, it's still really, really stressful. So the big things that I want to make note of here is the fact that even good change can be really stressful and can cause strain on your relationship. So giving yourself grace when you're stressed and you maybe snap at each other, trying to accommodate each other and understand where the other is coming from, that's going to be really huge because change is stressful even when it's good. The other thing that I feel like we really did right was making sure we ran through the numbers really thoroughly, talked through every side of our finances and what it would look like moving forward. We talked about that before he made the decision. Yes, there's still some little decisions that still need to be made, but we talked through all of that before he made the decision, before he accepted the job. If we had discussed this stuff after or just ignored it, just said, yeah, this is going to be a great opportunity. He'll be able to spend more time at home. This is going to be amazing. Just jump in. Okay, now we're looking at $2,000 left a month for the first 2 months of his new job. We're looking at really uncertain income with the commissions and stuff moving forward. We're looking at all kinds of different expenses that we didn't have previously. So that could really throw us off if we just jumped in completely blind. It is so important to discuss these big changes together before making a decision. The communication and how open you are with each other, the teamwork that you have is going to make or break big transitions like this. It could have looked so different if we weren't on the same page, if we didn't work as a team, and if we didn't communicate well. It could have been very, very different, much more stressful than it actually is. And I just want to make a note of this too. It's okay to feel uncertain, to feel conflicted about a decision, even if it's the right choice for you. That doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means that you need to talk it through, consider all the options, all the angles, and know that that's the right choice for you, even if it doesn't feel good in the moment. So I want to know, if you're facing a big decision right now, have you talked it through with your spouse, with your wife or your husband? Have you talked this through? Have you run the numbers? Have you looked at all the angles? You can make the right decision and still feel stressed about it. It doesn't mean it's the wrong decision. Changes take time to settle in, so make sure you give each other grace. Give yourself grace. If you're feeling stressed, again, that doesn't mean that it's wrong. Give yourself some grace. Zach and I are not through this yet. We're still making decisions and navigating this new job, the new income, all of it, but we're walking through it together. And that's what really matters. We are 100% on the same team. I will probably update you on how things are going along the way. Maybe in a few months, I'll let you know the update. But for now, we are trusting the plan. We are leaning on each other, and I'm excited. I'm nervous, but I'm excited. That's it for today. Remember, financial peace is not about avoiding the hard decisions. It's about facing them together. So keep your communication open. Keep working as a team. You will get through this. Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe, write a review if you would like, and share with anybody that you know going through a transition like this. Maybe it can help them. I hope to see you next week on another episode of Money and Marriage Made Simple.